Hello everybody, my name is Fern. I am the lead guitarist for the band Facing the Furies and a member of the Gear Talk and Gear Talk Praise and Worship forums on Facebook. A couple people have been asking me for a rig rundown type of video about my gear and to verify some of the claims I've been making, so here it is. I'm not going to get too deep into it, just a quick rundown. First of all, I'm playing on a PRS SC Custom 22 semi-hollow, and it's going through the board into a Matchless Chieftain. Actually, not really. It's actually a Line 6 pod set to the Matchless Chieftain model. I actually think it sounds pretty good. So anyway, first things first, there's a couple pedals that I run on all the time. That is the Sonic Stomp and the Mower Yellow Comp. There you go. So those are on about, well, the Sonic Stomp is on 100% of the time, and the Yellow Comp is on 95 to 98% of the time. And the M9 I have set to latch scene mode. So all I gotta do is kick a button, press a switch, and it takes me to a whole different scene. Alright, so the overdrives I'm not going to get into too much. You guys know what it does. Soul Food into East Overdrive, into the OT Glove, into the Rat, and into the Fuzz. Playing it through the bridge pickup on the PRS. Those are all songs by Facing the Furies, just in case you know, there are some fans watching. That was a couple of tidbits from the song Thorn, and that last one was from the song Moving On. So the fuzz I used real heavily on the last song, which was Queen of Oblivion. I used that one for the intro and some of the fills during the verses. And for that I have to engage my Rocktron Hush noise gate pedal. So that's what that was. I used the Rat for some of the fill lines in that song too. So yeah, a lot of you are noticing that I run my overdrives and distortions really hot, and the reason for that is I like to be able to have kind of a really high ceiling and back off the gain using my guitar's volume knob if I need to. In particular, a lot of the guys on this, on the Gear Talk P&W forum, they talk a lot about mild overdrives and really transparent drives. I like my drives colored. Just back off the volume knob and it'll back off the gain. And that becomes even less so if I start using the Telecaster, which has P90s in it, which are single coils. They're just slightly less hot than the humbuckers on the PRS. So anyway, moving on. It goes from all 6 drives into the blue Rocktron Hush, and then that goes into the volume pedal, which feeds my tuner. And tuning back up to E-flat standard. I tune all my guitars to E-flat standard for Facing the Furies. If I'm doing any other kind of setting, I'll tune them up to standard if I have to, but I prefer E-flat standard. Alright, so back to the guitar. We're now on the neck pickup. I'm going to show you some of the scenes on the M9. That's my ambient scene. It's a short analog delay which is a modulated delay going into an octo-verb, which is like a shimmer reverb, and that goes into a particle verb, which is just kind of a different kind of ambient reverb. Both of them are at kind of low mixes, so they can stack well together without getting too muddy. If I want to fatten it up a little bit, I see some of that modulation kicking in right now, but if I want to fatten it up a little bit, I add the Vox Time Machine, which is set to vintage delay, and a lo-fi switch is on the lo-fi, not the hi-fi, and that just kind of makes it a little bit soupier. There you hear the fast delay and the slow delay kind of interacting in random ways. If I still want to get even more lush and even more kind of ambient, I can add the Neo Clone chorus. It's set to a shallow setting, the depth switch is off, and the rate is down to almost nothing. So there's barely any movement in there, just kind of a doubling effect. And if I really wanted to add even more kind of lushness, craziness, I can add the EHX Holy Grail reverb. And that is set to the hall setting and reverb control about noon. EHX Super Ego is kind of a synth engine. It lets you create infinite drones basically. I use it in the auto mode with a dry signal completely out. The effect is at about maybe 9 o'clock. It does get loud, so I backed the wet level down to about 9 o'clock. Again, dry signal off completely. It has a speed and a glissando control. In auto mode, the speed knob is how fast the effect reacts and how fast it dies off. Speed knob all the way up is infinite sustain. I have it maybe just shy of full on, and the glissando control is just shy of noon, and that lets the notes kind of slide into each other. Of course, the reverb tails and all the delays kind of keep on going after I disengage the Super Ego effect. I really like this combination for more ambient sounds. The other pedal I have up there is the EHX Analogizer, which makes everything sound really lo-fi and kind of, well, analog. The best way I can describe it is like old vinyl. Again with the Super Ego. Alright, so there you go. That's my ambient sound. That analogizer does really cool things to overdrives as well. Again, the best way I can describe the effect is like old vinyl. That is more or less how I use my effects. That's more or less, well, that's my pedal board in a nutshell. The other thing that I wanted to describe to you right now was the SansAmp Para Driver DI, and that is One of the pedals that have caused a little bit of controversy in the Gear Talk forums, because a lot of people don't believe that I'd record direct with either just the SansAmp or just the Line 6 pod, and actually I've used both of them before. Again, there's a dry signal going through into the pod. Everything on the pedal board is bypassed except for the sonic stomp and the compressor. And now I'm going to engage the SansAmp. This is the SansAmp. Bridge humbucker, neck humbucker. So that is the SansAmp. And let me turn it off so you can hear what the direct signal sounds like. That's the guitar and pedal board straight into the mixer with no preamp. That's pretty much what you'd expect it to sound like. Again, let me show you the comparison between the two. That was the SansAmp pod. Again, this is the pod set to the Matchless Chieftain setting. So pretty nice, and if you combine the two, it actually sounds really good on recordings. That is both of them. Probably a little much because I'm overloading the preamps on the mixer. But for a clean signal, that's both of them mixed in together. Just the SansAmp. In fact, I'll add a little bit of reverb just so. And back to the Line 6 pod, which has its own built-in reverb. So there you have it. That's pretty much the rundown. This is the first time I've ever attempted to make a video like this, so just bear with me. I'm pretty sure I'll get better as time goes by. And any questions, just comment on here or inbox me for those of you on the Gear Talk groups on Facebook. But in a nutshell, there you go. And just so you could see the kind of stuff that I like doing with it, I'll outro with this. Thank you very much, you guys. Feel free to tear me apart in the comments on the Gear Talk page, and let's have a fun discussion about this. All right, guys. God bless you guys. Have a great day.